Do 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 do.
Greetings fandom, my name is Andre. I plan to just have this video posted for next year because it is the time of the elections period. But to hell with that, I'm going to post this now. And I'm just going to let a lot of people know that there are a lot of social and political systems that clearly fail. And there are some democracies that really do not work as well. Alright? I'm gonna state this primarily with a bunch of people who seriously don't like corruption, corrupt politicians who really should not be held in office. It's a very understandable fact that corruption has been very rampant in many parts of the world. It's a very sad truth indeed, and one way on how to reduce corruption or how to avoid corruption is it's a very simple process. Like, just don't vote for those politicians. Like, they campaign, they ask for your votes, they do anything to get your votes, but and it's quite obvious that they really want that spot. They're very eager to be in that spot, just to ruin this country, to leave it in ruins. And it's happened time and time and time again. And I am more than convinced that there are a lot of people out there who do not know how to vote wisely. I mean, isn't that really the standards of every election? You need to be extremely wise in voting the candidates for who the next leader is going to be. And obviously it's not working because the people here, they do not know how to vote. And they do not know how to properly choose their leaders. They do not know how to not get convinced by the corrupt politicians' sweet words, words of encouragement, words of persuasion. Persuade them to vote for you. Persuade you to vote for them rather. But it could go either ways, because maybe you would have a chance on running, but then again that would involve trying to convince a lot of people to vote as well. I mean, I strongly believe in the statement that not all politicians are corrupt, but all politicians are liars. Believe me, at some point in their political career, they have all lied. They have done it all. They will do everything. They will go great lengths just to get the people to vote for them. Each and every single one. Believe me. And it may be quite hard to distinguish which ones are sincere and which ones are corrupt. But just try to get a little education on that one. If the schools didn't teach you, try to educate yourself. Look it up. There's the internet. Try to check their political backgrounds. See what they did in their previous positions, in their previous posts, in their previous locations. See what they did, and if they're really deemed trustworthy for your vote, then that's it. Vote for them. If you're wise enough to do that, that is. And another thing that I do want to mention is the vote buying system. Does it really need money for the people, to get the people to vote for you? Do you really need to pay them that much? I mean, this is one way how corrupt politicians tend to win and get away with things. Alright? First things first, they are in their previous posts, they steal that money, they steal the money that they want, and that money is from the people. And then when it's already campaign period, they try to give back that money in the form of vote buying. They give you this much money, and because the people were given that much money, they will vote for that person. But what you don't know is that the money that he had given you were the money that he stole from you. He stole that from you, and he's giving it back to you in a way that will get him to get him to be elected again. Like, if that was in his previous position where he stole that money. And obviously there are a lot of people who don't know who don't know, like, that's really how it works. They got those funds for the vote buying from the money that they stole. They're just gonna give it back just to remain in that position or in a higher position. Clearly, the system just doesn't work. All right? Like, I had some ideas on how to make the elections quite a lot better, I guess. I mean, here's one way of how I thought. Like, I thought of two ways. Okay? Like, the first way is by having an extra piece of paper in the ballot sheet. Like, they choose they choose a president, they choose a vice president, they choose a bunch of senators uh for the country to be held responsible to. All right? That's what happens. But in the extra piece of paper that they're going to receive, they're going to have to explain as to why they voted for them. All right? And then they're going to, like, write that down and try to say it as concisely as they can in their own language. Uh, and then they're just going to, like, write it down over there, right? That's it. And they have and they have to, like, make sure that their reason to vote for that leader is justifiable. And each and every single one of them are going to check their reasoning. And if their reasoning does not sound valid enough, or is not valid enough on very wise voter standards, that vote should not be considered. That vote should not be taken. Like, delete that vote. That vote doesn't count. Like, if the reason of why you chose a certain politician to run this country is not valid, like, if it doesn't sound good enough, then what's the whole point? You're not voting wisely if that's not the case. You're voting blindly. All of you are blind. Like, and then there are those people who, whenever they are told that they are not voting wisely, they get offended. A lot of people here and where I'm from are a bunch of snowflakes. They get easily offended when they get told that. And maybe it's about time that they accept those criticisms with a grain of salt. Brutal honesty is probably the best honesty. I know it's going to offend you, but it is the truth, so you have to hear that out. And my other way is probably going to cause a lot of trouble in the country. Alright? Like, I know that the United States has a very weird and bizarre electoral college system. Like, I still don't know how well it works or how it actually works, because there are a lot of people there lighting up to vote for their respective leaders. And then there are some people who choose just not to vote because they know their votes will not matter. Like, sure, they're going to like write down, like, the names of the politicians that are there on their very tiny ballot sheet, and then they're just going to drop it in the ballot box. However, there's this select group of people there that are referred to as the Electoral College, who I assume are very wise voters, who represent each state, and then they're going to give out their votes respectively. And guess what? It's only their votes that will matter. And if I can remember correctly, you need at least 270 Electoral College votes to win the election. And so, And what I know is like if that should be implemented everywhere, it's going to cause a lot of chaos. I mean, if you're gonna ask me, I still don't know how the whole thing works, so maybe just leave that one aside for now. Like I gave out my reason, but like maybe that shouldn't work. Maybe it'll cause more trouble than what the original voting process trouble is already causing. So yeah, there's that. And all I'm trying to say to the people is like, if you don't want corrupt politicians, the answer is simple. Do not vote for them. Alright? Like, what's the whole point of like having to keep corrupt politicians out of office if you people are the same ones who keep voting for them? I know you guys are better than this. Be wise. Don't vote for these bastards. Elections are near, and I hope I can still get my trust on those people. I hope.